Hold up. Before you write off that Week 1 loss to Cincinnati as just another Browns heartbreaker, you need to understand what really went down in that 17-16 nail-biter. Because what I witnessed wasn't just a close game that slipped away, it was a blueprint for something much bigger brewing in Cleveland. And if you missed the subtle signs buried in that fourth-quarter chaos, you're about to get schooled on why this Browns team might be the most dangerous they've been in years. Listen, I've been watching this franchise break hearts for decades, but something felt different about this loss. Maybe it was the way Myles Garrett absolutely demolished Cincinnati's offensive line in those final minutes, recording 2 sacks that had Joe Burrow seeing ghosts. Or maybe it was how this defense completely flipped the script in the second half, turning from Swiss cheese into an impenetrable wall that held one of the AFC's most explosive offenses to practically nothing when it mattered most. Let me paint you the real picture here. Cincinnati came out firing in the first half, converting 6 of 7 third downs like they were running practice drills. Their offense looked unstoppable, methodical, surgical. Then halftime hit, and I watched Kevin Stefanski pull off some coaching wizardry that deserves way more credit than it's getting. The Browns' defense emerged from that locker room like a completely different unit, allowing just 1 third down conversion in 7 attempts during the second half. 1 out of 7. You want to talk about containing elite talent? Ja'Marr Chase, the same receiver who's been torching defenses across the league, was held to 2 catches for 26 yards. Greg Newsome III was putting on a coverage clinic, forcing incompletions and basically erasing one of the NFL's most dangerous weapons from a game plan. That's not luck, that's preparation meeting opportunity in the most beautiful way possible. But here's where it gets really interesting. While everyone's focusing on that heartbreaking tipped interception that sealed the game, they're completely missing the story of Raheem Sanders. This kid, in his very first NFL game, showed flashes of exactly what this offense has been missing. 29 rushing yards on 8 carries, sure, but add in those 64 receiving yards on 8 catches, and you're looking at a player who can create mismatches all over the field. The Browns finally have that versatile weapon who can line up anywhere and make defenses pay. And can we talk about Joe Flacco for a minute? The man threw for 290 yards, completed 31 of 45 passes, and yes, he threw 2 interceptions. But here's the thing everyone's conveniently ignoring. Both picks bounced off his receiver's hands. Flacco's arm strength looked sharp, his decision-making was sound, and that touchdown strike to Cedric Tillman in the third quarter? Pure vintage Flacco magic. The guy's 39 years old and still slinging it like he's got something to prove. Speaking of Tillman, this receiver core is deeper than people realize. Jerry Jeudy hauling in 5 catches for 66 yards, making contested catches in traffic like it's nothing. Tillman with 3 catches for 33 yards and that crucial touchdown. Isaiah Bond chipping in with key receptions. This isn't the same Browns receiving room that struggled for consistency. This group has legitimate NFL talent at every level. Now, let's get back to the defense, because what Myles Garrett did in that fourth quarter should have defensive coordinators across the league losing sleep. 2 sacks when the pressure was at its highest, completely disrupting Cincinnati's rhythm and giving Cleveland multiple chances to steal that game. But it wasn't just Garrett. Isaiah McGuire added a sack on 3rd and 21, and Carson Schweissinger delivered a hit on Chase Brown that dislodged the ball and forced 4th down. This defense is starting to play with the kind of controlled aggression that wins championships. The run defense was absolutely suffocating, holding Cincinnati to 46 rushing yards on 23 attempts. That's averaging just 2 yards per carry against an offensive line that's supposed to be elite. Malik Collins and Mason Graham were clogging every running lane, making life miserable for Cincinnati's ground game and forcing them into obvious passing situations where Garrett and company could pin their ears back. Before we dive deeper into what this all means for the season ahead, do me a favor and smash that like button if you're enjoying this breakdown. It helps Browns Breakout reach more passionate fans like yourself, and honestly, we're building something special here. Hit subscribe too, because the analysis and insider perspectives we're bringing you won't be found anywhere else. Here's what has me really excited about this team moving forward. The adjustments they made at halftime weren't just tactical. They showed mental toughness and adaptability that championship teams possess. When Cincinnati came out executing at a high level early, Cleveland didn't panic. They regrouped, made their corrections, and came back swinging harder. Joe Burrow finished with just 164 passing yards on 14 completions. Let me repeat that. They held one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL to 164 yards. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome III were blanketing receivers. Ryan Jenkins was delivering bone-crushing hits in support coverage, and Grant Delpit was all over the field making tackles and disrupting timing routes. This secondary is legitimately elite when they're clicking on all cylinders. But let's be real about what needs fixing. Those red zone opportunities have to turn into touchdowns, not field goals. The offense moved the ball effectively. That opening drive was a thing of beauty. 16 plays covering 67 yards, and capped off with Sanders punching it in from 1 yard out. But in a league where margins are razor thin, you can't afford to settle for field goals when you're knocking on the door. The turnover battle will define this season. Flacco's experience is invaluable, but those interceptions, even when they're not entirely his fault, swing games in the NFL. The receivers need to secure those catches, and the offensive line needs to give Flacco clean pockets to work from. When this offense is clicking, they can sustain drives and control the clock. We saw glimpses of that methodical, punishing style that wears down defenses. Looking at the bigger picture, the AFC North is absolutely loaded this year. Cincinnati's got talent across the board, Baltimore's always dangerous, and Pittsburgh never goes away quietly. But if Cleveland can build on what they showed in that second half, the defensive adjustments, the pass rush coming alive, the running game finding rhythm, they're going to be a problem for every team on their schedule. The foundation is undeniably solid. Stefanski has proven he can make in-game adjustments. The defense has playmakers at every level, anchored by a generational pass rusher in Garrett. The offensive skill position players have legitimate speed and versatility. And perhaps most importantly, this team showed they can hang with a quality opponent on the road in a hostile environment. What separated this loss from the typical Browns heartbreaker was the fight they showed. Down 14-6 in the third quarter, they could have folded. Instead, they scored 10 unanswered points and had multiple opportunities to steal that game in the final minutes. That resilience, that refusal to quit when things get tough, that's championship DNA starting to emerge. The young players are stepping up too. Maguire's sack on third down, Schwiesinger's forced fumble, Sanders' versatility as a rookie. This roster has depth and talent that's going to develop throughout the season. Every week, these guys are going to get more comfortable, more confident, and more dangerous. So here's my take after diving deep into every snap, every stat, every crucial moment from Week 1. This Browns team is different. The pieces are in place, the coaching is sharp, and the mentality is shifting from hoping not to lose to expecting to win. That tipped interception stings right now, but mark my words, Cleveland is going to use that pain as fuel for what's coming next. The AFC North better take notice, because the Browns aren't just trying to compete anymore. They're building something that can make a legitimate run at not just the playoffs, but a deep postseason push. Garrett's back to terrorizing offensive lines, the defense is playing with attitude, and the offense has weapons that can attack you in multiple ways. What did you see in that game that has you excited or concerned about this Browns season? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I read every single one, and your insights help shape how we break down these games moving forward. The journey's just beginning, and if Week 1 was any indication, we're in for one hell of a ride this season. Stay locked in, because the best is absolutely yet to come.